Disfigured France. The dynamics of power. The influence of the Rothschilds in France. When families like the Rothschilds hold power in France for decades, it arouses the anger of a people tired of corruption and uncontrolled immigration. No one protested when the justice system, under the presidency of the corrupt Hollande, sabotaged François Fillon and Sarkozy to eliminate them, like what Biden tried to do against Trump in the United States. Marine Le Pen proposes to clean France in depth. The country is today a ticking time bomb, threatened by a civil war between the French and criminals who entered the territory illegally. Macron seeks to create a European war against Russia, which could destroy France and the rest of the continent through nuclear conflict. He is doing this under the orders of the Rothschilds, seeking to profit from the war, just as they did in Ukraine. They are indifferent to the deaths of 500,000 Ukrainian soldiers. A possibility of peace had emerged in Istanbul in 2022, but once again the other Rothschild agent, Boris Johnson, intervened at the last minute to sabotage it. I don't know if Marine Le Pen is now in the pay of the Rothschilds, but it is certain that this family, like vermin, will destroy the world alongside their Rockefeller associates in the United States. France is ruined by its own decisions. Since General de Gaulle, all French presidents have been puppets of the Rothschilds. Machiavellian insights on power dynamics, the Rothschild influence in France. Throughout history, the control of power has always been an intricate dance of manipulation, influence, and strategic alliances. When families like the Rothschilds hold power in France for decades, it inevitably provokes the ire of a populace tired of corruption and unchecked immigration. The Machiavellian lens allows us to dissect these dynamics, revealing the deeper currents at play. The long arm of the Rothschilds. The Rothschild family, an emblem of financial might and political influence, has been a significant player on the global stage since the 18th century. Their influence in France is no exception. From funding wars to backing political candidates, the Rothschilds have masterfully maneuvered through history, ensuring their interests are safeguarded. One must recognize that such entrenched power does not come without public backlash. The growing frustration among the French populace can be seen as a predictable outcome of prolonged influence and perceived corruption. This frustration has been further exacerbated by issues such as uncontrolled immigration, which many believe is a consequence of policies driven by those in power to serve their interests. The Hollande era, a case study in political sabotage. During François Hollande's presidency, we witnessed a stark example of political sabotage that echoes Machiavellian tactics. François Fillon and Nicolas Sarkozy, both prominent figures who could have challenged the status quo, were effectively neutralized. Fillon was embroiled in a scandal over alleged misuse of public funds, while Sarkozy faced multiple legal battles. These moves, perceived by many as orchestrated by a corrupt justice system under Hollande's administration, bear the hallmarks of strategic elimination of rivals, reminiscent of tactics used by powerful families to maintain their dominance. This scenario mirrors the political maneuvers in the United States, where accusations and investigations were used in attempts to undermine Donald Trump's presidency. Such strategies are not new. They are part of the timeless playbook of power retention. Marine Le Pen, the purge proposal. Enter Marine Le Pen, a figure who promises to cleanse France. Her rhetoric speaks to a nation on the brink, powder keg, as it were, threatened by a potential civil war between native French citizens and those who have entered the country illegally. Le Pen's stance capitalizes on the public's fear and frustration, offering a return to order and national integrity. This is a classic Machiavellian move, leveraging public discontent to galvanize support and position oneself as the savior. Macron's European war gambit. President Emmanuel Macron's push for a European confrontation with Russia, ostensibly under the guise of protecting European interests, can be viewed through a Machiavellian prism as well. Such a war would serve multiple purposes. It would consolidate Macron's power, distract from domestic issues, and, crucially, serve the interests of those who profit from conflict and, notably, the Rothschilds. The war in Ukraine, which saw significant casualties and destruction, is a testament to the profitability of conflict for certain elites. Despite opportunities for peace, such as the one in Istanbul in 2022, these were thwarted, with Boris Johnson, another figure linked to Rothschild interests, stepping in to derail peace efforts. This ensures a prolonged conflict, thus sustained profits and power consolidation for those behind the scenes. The unseen hand. Marine Le Pen's potential alignment with or opposition to the Rothschilds remains uncertain. However, history teaches us that powerful families like the Rothschilds do not easily relinquish control. They adapt, co-opt, and if necessary, replace political figures to maintain their influence. The comparison with the Rockefeller influence in the United States is apt. Both families exemplify how entrenched wealth and power manipulate national and international events to serve their ends. Conclusion. A nation's fate. France, a nation with a rich history of revolution and resilience, finds itself at a crossroads. The decisions it faces are influenced by a complex web of power dynamics, historical grievances, and Machiavellian strategies. Understanding these influences is crucial for the populace to navigate the treacherous waters of modern politics. The Rothschilds, like other powerful dynasties, have woven themselves into the fabric of national and global politics. Their actions, often shrouded in secrecy and strategic manipulation, continue to shape the fate of nations. France's future, therefore, hinges not just on its leaders, but on its ability to recognize and challenge these unseen hands guiding the course of its history.